All right, so the meeting is starting at 6:01. We're good.
Excellent.
All right, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Did everyone have a chance to look at the very brief minutes?
Yes.
When were they sent? Oh, the one email?
No, I texted them to you a little bit ago.
Let me see.
They're pretty darn quick.
I know I got an email in about maybe 15 minutes ago from somebody's suggestions or something.
That was me forwarding Nora's email to me.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Right.
thank you.
So I texted you the minutes.
Okay, I'll have to look them up.
They're pretty quick. I don't think we're gonna have any discussion, but does anybody have any discussion?
Nobody have a treasury report, so whenever you'd like it.
You have a treasurer's report? I didn't
I
put
do.
that on the agenda. Go ahead.
Okay, as of today, we have $1,378.14 in our account and treasurer's office. That was a credit for last year's that we didn't submit. So that's
Okay.
what we have for credit in the account right
And
now.
I forgot to ask Henoko when we find out what our grant amount is going to be from the state. They've had a good year, so I imagine it's more than 22, which is what it was last year. I don't know when we find that out. would've
I
thought
sent an
fiscal year-
email about a month ago to her with that same question, but
Yeah, I don't know that it's not on the website. That's where you would go and see what every town is getting their allotment, so it's not there. All right, so can I have a motion to approve the minutes for
approved.
May 2nd? Second,
Second. I'll
all
second.
in favor of approving the
Aye.
minutes? Okay, we have no public, so we have no comment. All right, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was Beth and I met. Just gonna change my camera around so you can I do that? Yes.
Yeah.
So Beth and I made the decision to have this poster made,
Very nice.
Yeah,
which
Love it.
the plan was to have it at the art show,
Right,
but it is not waterproof.
right.
It is just a piece of cardboard stuck to foam cord board. So I was gonna see, oh, and I need to be reimbursed for that, Andy. So how do I do
Yep.
that?
Laurie Guarini will write you a check. She'll give you
Do
a
I
check.
need to have you approve it or anything?
I don't think so, but I can give Laurie a call. She's pretty amiable. Once you go into the office, just submit the
The receipt?
bill to her. Yeah,
Okay.
and she'll just write you a check and send it out. Maybe we should get one made up professionally that isn't on a piece of cardboard.
Well,
It's a-
that's my next thing,
Yeah.
was that I checked with the gentleman at Bridgewater Print. And we can get a foam core board, which
Mhm.
is like what they use for election signs.
Mhm.
That is weather resistant, or we can go PVC, which is bulletproof. And it's thinner, the PVC.
What's the cost of per?
Okay, so this is the thing with either the foam core, not the foam core, either the waterproof or the PVC. You have to buy a 4x9 sheet. So
Okay,
you can do whatever combination of sizes that
Yeah.
you want.
Mhm.
The template there, they've saved, so it will take no time at all, but they have to send it out. So it's not something they can do on site.
what's the cost?
So it's 150 for the election sign foam cord, the foam corrugated stuff, and it's 200 for the PVC.
So it's 150 for one?
4x9.
Oh, 4x9.
So I was thinking we could divide it
Yeah,
up.
oh, yeah. Have three
So
big ones.
what I
and four
showed you
small
is
ones.
this one.
Yeah,
This is huge. I don't know if we would ever
Yeah.
want one that big. And then these are half the size.
now usually it's one of those election signs, usually 30 by 24 that you see on the roads. Would that be a size that would be amicable for everybody if we get 4 of them made up?
Well, it's gonna be whatever fits into a 4x9. So we're gonna get as many as will fit on the 4x9. You pay the 150 or the 200.
Oh, yeah. I would say, I don't know, but you folks, but I don't think we have a need to get one that's bulletproof. It'd be nice to have the corrugated ones. We just pull them up when we're done with the event. we can put them on, and you could give me one, I'll put it up for Music Alley, so that people driving by can see at the Black Hat that Mass Cultural Council's up there,
Right, so my thinking is we would leave one at the library, one at the senior center.
Yep.
So whenever an event occurs, but they can't do lawn signs.
Yes. They can't do long signs at the library.
Not indoors. What are they gonna stick it into?
No, I was thinking maybe we could post it somewhere in front of the senior center, or because we have a bunch of items, a bunch of shows going on in certain places.
So you want to post it outside the building?
Yeah.
Well, the thing with the senior center is they'll have 3 programs going on at once.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, whatever.
So I was thinking we would just prop it up somewhere near the performer.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, for me, I just figured for another $50, we have indestructible ones
Yeah,
and do the PVC.
that's fine. Well, if it's $50 more for the same amount, then by all means, get the PVC one.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
We can
what
always
sizes?
decide where we want to put it when we get
Yeah.
it, so,
Well, it's not where we're gonna
Yeah.
put them, Nora. It's we're gonna leave them for the performers to have available while they're performing.
okay, that's not our job, though. That's the performer's job to do that.
Right, but we would just leave the signs there to make it easier for them. Otherwise, they have to make their own poster.
They have to make their own, though. We shouldn't be, in
Yeah,
other words, we should put ours to advertise the cultural council and meetings and outreach events. And, if we do the thing, if you guys want to have someone handle the table down with me over at the Autumn Fest this year, that would be a great place to have the sign there. Because we don't, I don't have one anymore. I mean, I made up one on paper for 1 year. I put the applications out. I put a large sign that listed the amount of money we had to grant. And then I said free money for artists, musicians, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I had about a dozen people stop by and take applications. I don't know how many actually, because I was no longer with the council after that, who came in and actually applied for it. So I don't have that detail. But the one thing I didn't have a sign of any kind that stood out. So outreach things are, the response I get from people when I talk to them about joining the council, it sounds like a lot of work. They don't want to be involved in anything really formal. They get real uptight about all the paperwork and all the stuff they put up on the site, meaning the town for the things. And when they talk to them about different stuff, I still hear feedback from people. They're going to check my finances. People get all uptight about this. So we have to make sure they know none of that stuff. It's not hard. It's not work. It's just
Okay,
a
so
little bit
Nora,
of
right
commitment.
now we're talking about potentially getting a sign.
Okay,
me.
but if you have the sign and you give it to the performers, then we're taking out, they need to provide their
I don't want
own
to have them
stuff.
keep it. I want the
Okay.
senior center to hold it.
No, I would say that would be not
right,
a
so
great
Nora,
idea,
we
but
have to
I'll
spend-
just say, go ahead.
We have to spend $200 to get one that can handle the July 4th rain.
Right,
And so $200 allows us to get at least 6 signs.
if
What-
we had
can we
had,
just-
if we had had more time, if I had got the brilliant idea earlier, what I would have done is what I tell people to do for the 4th of July is get a plastic, plastic covering and put it over your sign in case of rain. I tell them to bring plastic coverings and just cover it. And then you have your sign, you don't have to worry about getting wet.
All right, so we
but,
have
I mean-
$1,300 that we
Yeah.
can spend on something like this.
Sure,
So
Or-
I propose that we do the $200 PVC. We just need to decide which sizes to ask them to create. And
Okay.
then we can decide if we hang on to them or if we have the venues that are frequently having these artists or performances or whatever hang on to it. So we don't have to run there with a sign each time they have something.
okay, but we're not supposed to run with a sign for them. They're
That's why I would like to
responsible for
just
that.
leave it at the library or leave it at the senior center.
Okay, well, you guys decide, and I'll just
Okay.
wait. Okay.
So I made
go
a
ahead.
motion to allow us to spend the $200, probably plus tax, to buy PVC signs.
I second that. And I think what we should do is we should just buy the signs and have them somewhere. But because Nora's right, a lot of these organizations are supposed to provide that signage on their posters. I know we do at Music Alley.
Right.
We have both the Mass and the Bridgewater Cultural Council's logo on the signs. So,
Right, so
you know,
I
we-
would like, I like the idea of while the performance is happening,
yeah.
to have it be there.
So what we
Anyway.
can
All right,
perhaps,
so all in favor of spending
Aye.
$200 to get the signs?
let's get the sign.
Beth, Nora,
I'm gonna say no, just.
you're
I'm
gonna
gonna
abstain
stick
or say
yeah.
no?
I'll just
Okay.
say no if it's gonna be given to performers or left at site. Otherwise, if it's gonna be for outreach, I'm all for it. Sign me up.
We're gonna have multiple signs, so
Okay,
anyway.
yep, Okay. So
I
that
think
would
the
be,
So-
long term is, it's gonna be outreach anyways, so.
Right,
um,
so does anybody think we need anything bigger than what I just showed you? That's 2 by 3 feet.
no,
No,
I don't think anything bigger than that.
Okay, so I was gonna order 2 by 3s and the rest would be the smaller ones.
what would the small sizes be?
1.5 by 2.
Okay,
I'll check with the Bridgewater print. Anyway, they have do you guys like that template? Do you like that design?
Mhm.
Do you want me to show it to you again?
that's the official
Please, one
design,
more
isn't
time.
it?
Well, no, we added the email address or the website address specifically for Bridgewater.
Okay, but that's not the Bridgewater Cultural Council. That's just the line. I mean, I kind of always play devil's advocate. Are we going to promote the Massachusetts Cultural Council or are we promoting the Bridgewater Cultural Council, the local council?
This website is the link to our access.
Okay.
They apply for grants there. They look at our guidelines there. That is where they do everything they need to go to.
Any chance they could redesign it just slightly to
What do
put,
you want to do, Nora?
yeah, put that bottom line with the orange thing,
Yep.
put it on the top and the bottom, because if it's posted into somewhere, then sometimes they don't see the bottom, but if you put it up at the top as well. And that's a long URL for somebody, unless we're gonna get a QR code that people could scan with their phone.
How do we get a QR code, Nora? You had talked about doing that
Yeah,
before.
there's an app that you can go online and you can have. a
Can you do
QR
that for
code.
me?
I will do that for you, and
Before I
they
get the
just-
signs made.
yeah, and that way, that's a long, you know what I mean?
Okay, so can you do that in the next couple of days? Because I want to get the
Absolutely.
sign made soon.
I will. Today
Okay.
is Tuesday.
Does
Yeah.
anybody else
that's
want to add an
Wednesday.
extra orange line?
I think
Beth, Andrew?
that's the
Eddie?
Mass Cultural Council's logo. I don't see how adding another orange line to it would make a difference.
I think Nora was talking about above the aqua line with the QR, with the web address.
Oh, I see. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's what Nora was saying.
Yeah, I mean, just to have a designation, because that's an awful long. string.
Designation, what do you mean? It's
You know,
already,
The web address is very long for someone to write down.
that is what it is
accurately,
though.
But it's very long for people to locate.
So
that's
we're gonna
what I
do a QR code.
Nora,
Yeah.
do you go online and do anything with the Registry of Motor Vehicles?
All the time. I work for the National.
Yeah, talk
Safety
about a long
Council,
web
so-
code.
Yeah. Oh, I know, but the thing is, when people have to go and find this stuff,
Oh, yeah.
and then they can't find it, and they don't come to our site, they end up in West Bridgewater, East Bridgewater, because what they
Well,
do
if
is
they
you
go to the
Google it.
Mass Cultural Council main website and go to
Yeah.
communities, then they can look up Bridgewater.
And that's an
But this
awful
is
lot.
the
Yeah.
address that they would be looking for.
Yeah, whatever you guys think, I'll get a QR code and you can
Yep.
take a look at it and
Okay.
decide, okay?
Where would the QR code go?
It can go up in the top right corner. Up there, we got a lot of white space. And it doesn't
Okay,
have to be
you okay with that,
massive.
Andy? Putting the QR code in the top right corner?
That looks good.
Yeah, right after
I mean, you got
Mass.
that white space.
Okay, so the gentleman who designed this is a graphic designer.
Yes,
So I sort of feel like let's let him do his thing.
yep, he'll know where it goes.
But I mean, I don't know that we need another orange line.
No, I just meant if you were gonna put a shorter, version for that.
We can't. That's
URL
what it
code.
is. That's the address.
So we'll have that and the QR code. So that's
Yes, the QR code will be the quickest way.
Yeah.
Okay, so that passes 3-1 to get the signs made. And Nora, you'll get the QR code.
I will.
All right. Any other discussion about the sign?
Hmm.
All right, moving on to old business. We have not gotten final reports yet from quite a few of our grant recipients. I did send emails to all of them, reminding them that we need that. I did hear back from the African dancer,
Mhm.
and she said she was waiting to hear from the library. I'm not sure the library is the right venue. I
Yeah.
suggested she next year do something with Black History Month in February and contact some venue, or to do Juneteenth.
Yeah, that would be ideal.
Yeah, hopefully she'll just carry it over to next year.
Mhm.
Anyway, so how much hounding do I need to do? Or we just don't grant these people any more money, the ones who don't give us final reports?
No, I don't know. Can you send out copies? Because we haven't received anything from Music Alley from you. Unless David Wilson got it.
I didn't send one because I know you're working on it still.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I only sent them to ones that I thought either I didn't know when they were doing their program or I haven't heard from them yet.
Okay.
And I did hear from a few of them saying that they would, get it to me when they could, but then, like, for instance, Shirley Wood didn't send me anything from the high school.
Yeah.
And I haven't heard from the African dancer because she hasn't done it.
Well, we can bring that up when we go to give the grants out.
Okay.
I think
All
that's
right.
probably the
So
time.
you
to
feel like
discuss
the
it.
one email I sent was sufficient?
Yeah, we should only send one out. There's no reason to keep
I
harping.
already did. Should I
Yeah.
send a second one?
I don't think so.
Okay. All
I
right,
don't
I've
think
done my duty.
Yeah.
All right. The profile for you guys, you might want to check to be sure everything's correct on Smart Simple. So I had chatted with Josh, and they've extended your to the 2025. I don't understand why it wasn't Andy. It wasn't what it was before. And then we have Kayla Newcomb, who has not participated. She's still on the roster because we need 5 people. She was sworn in, so at least she made some effort at some point, but
Yes.
hasn't.
Let's keep her on there. That way we don't.
We have to. We can't run with just the 4 of us. Okay.
Has
all right,
anybody, I'm sorry, Tina, did anyone call her?
Kayla?
Yeah.
We've been sending her emails and texts and everything, and she doesn't respond. So do you
Okay,
know
do you-
her?
No, but if you want to give me her number, I'll give her a call. Sometimes this stuff, no, seriously, sometimes this stuff, a lot of email goes into my junk mail, my
Yeah.
spam mail,
Spam
and
folder.
I don't know why. So it's a pain in the neck to have to go in and set it to not do that. And so if you don't even know it's there,
Okay, you ready?
yep, go
Nora,
ahead.
here is her phone number.
Thank you.
508
Yep.
863
Okay,
9366.
I'll give her a call tomorrow, see what we get.
And
least,
it's
you
Newcomb with an E, Kayla4@gmail.com.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. Autumn Fest, Nora brought that up. It's the end of September, so the grants are only open for like 2.5 weeks after that.
Mhm.
Is anyone available on the 30th to man a table? Nora, I don't feel like giving out pieces of paper. I think we can have
No.
the list of who we granted for the 2023 year,
Mhm.
like I gave you on the 4th.
Right,
Do you still have that, or do you want me to print out new ones?
No, actually Jamal Eversley took those so he could promote over in the Brockton area for us, because he's also on the cultural council there. And he's also the guy that does our art festival every year, the whole art thing. So he's taking it out to reach some other people that are kind of, he knows they're local to us. Bridgewater, West Bridgewater, those areas. So he has taken some information.
Okay, so
over
you're
to
saying
them.
I do need to print out a new set
A new
for
set,
the
please.
30th.
Yeah. And I still would, I mean, I brought 10 copies of paper of
There is no
paperwork.
paper, everything's
Yeah.
digital, Nora.
Yeah, but just to give them an idea, so we could make up these are the questions you'd have to answer kind of. a
Nora,
thing.
I'm putting you as in charge of doing that,
Okay,
because I
I'll
have no
just-
idea what it's supposed to look like.
yeah, I can update it with, just go through the current things, make sure everything's current, update it. I know I have it somewhere in my master. Well, I still have, I've been working for the National Safety Council since 2010. I still have my sign-in sheets from my first class. So I will find it. It's always, I don't just get rid of anything, so.
Okay,
I'll
so
just
I will be in
update that.
charge of bringing Beth's beautiful easel
Yep,
and one of our
Yay.
new posters,
yep.
and I will try to be there and answer questions. Anyone else available? It's a Saturday.
But I'm not sure at this point.
Okay,
Yeah, even if you want to like stop by, like if you're
or just come for an
busy, but
hour or
just-
two.
just come through and see what goes on there. It's always nice. I just, I'm just really out like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, did you see this sign? We're giving away money. And that usually draws them into you. And then you can promote them and say, what do you do? What do you do for a living? What do you do for fun? And you start having people come up and say, oh yeah, I'm in this group, I'm in this, that. And when you start trying, it's like, wait a minute, my brother paints and my sister does this. So they take the paperwork with them and then they have an idea. It's not that hard to apply for a grant. People get frightened. You say the word grant and they get all uptight about it. And I think in all the experience I've had, that's been the hardest thing. People will say, oh, I could do this, but then they get frightened about it because it
I think
sounds
the
complicated.
Mass Cultural Council has a link for
Yep.
grant help.
Yep.
So
But-
we can just tell people to go there.
Yeah, and sometimes I think if you're doing a one-on-one, you need to kind of handhold them a little bit to get them started. And once they get in and they start looking around and go, well, that's all I have to put. That was pretty easy. But otherwise, they get really intimidated by this unless they're responsible for like a group or an organization.
Yeah.
And just looking at the number, I mean, it's like, this is the first year for the July 4th thing. I had more than 2 people come and participate in the festival that lived in Bridgewater. Everyone else was coming as far as Worcester, Springfield, tons of people from Rhode Island. And what do the people say? Oh, I didn't even know you had this. I've been doing it for 12 years. And they didn't even know. And if you ask people right now about an event in town, most of them aren't even aware of stuff.
So we just need to do
sometimes-
better publicity for those kinds
more
of things.
publicity, Facebook, get more stuff out there, talk to everybody. I mean, that's how I used to get members on the council. Literally, I walked by someone who was sitting there dusting out a computer, Kelsey, that was next door at the computer place. And I looked at her, I said, well, I said, what are you doing today? And she goes, oh, doing this, that, and the other thing. I said, did you ever think of joining the cultural council?
Yeah, I tried to get her back
Yeah.
on it again, Nora.
She's busy now with that dog.
Yeah,
She's
she
busy,
was not
busy.
willing to do that.
So you can, the thing is to kind of put her to the task of get me somebody else. Because she encounters a lot of people coming in
Yeah.
to see her, so. And she's a sweetie, so I'm just saying that
Yes.
sometimes you gotta be a little odd asking people what you think, in other words, stop looking for the people we think we're supposed to get. It's the ones that you would never expect that would be like, wow. So, I'm telling you right now, ask people what the local cultural council does. They have no idea.
Yeah,
what-
I've talked to a
what's
few
that?
people about applying for grants. Beth is working on working with
Yep.
someone at the college to apply, I think,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah, I need to reach out to her.
Good.
Yep.
All right, let's move on
Yep,
to
sorry.
the priorities.
Yep.
Now, did everyone get a chance to take a look at what I put onto the website? I know that Nora did.
I haven't
Yeah,
seen.
I did, finally.
Okay. So Nora sent, and I forwarded you her suggestions on tweaking.
Which mine are always lengthy. I apologize on that, so.
So Nora, I'm trying to be as short-winded as possible with our
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah.
So is there any way you can reduce the words that you added to just the minimal, what you want to communicate?
Yeah, and maybe those items would be better suited in, see, we used to have a God, what's it, a Facebook thing. And we put those guidelines on there that gave real explanation to people.
So technically, the guidelines have to be on the Mass Cultural Council website, because if we
Right.
deny someone
Right,
because of something that we put on Facebook, that doesn't
Yep.
work. It has to be on the LCC, the guidelines.
which is
The Cultural
fine,
Council
but
guidelines.
sometimes when you say to someone about, you know, I was thinking of doing a little thing and this, that, and, you know, they don't really see how it fits when they go over to the cultural council. Because the cultural council doesn't always give them, I mean, if you went to the cultural council site and you looked at all the events they run, that isn't always the type of thing we're gonna get on a local level. So we need, you know, I mean, people need to be creative and come up with ideas. And what I hear from people, when I talk to them about grants is, oh, that wouldn't apply for a grant. That wouldn't fit for a grant. And it's like, why not? You know, why wouldn't it apply?
Okay, so back to
People
my original
come-
request, Nora,
Yeah.
is there any way you can shorten what you've sent to us?
I can certainly do that, certainly.
I have a request. Can you email it to me instead of
Sure.
sending it over the phone?
Okay, sure.
Thanks,
I
Nora.
emailed, I
welcome.
forwarded her email. So what I'm asking you to look at, Andy, is on Smart Simple. I have a draft,
I'll check
and
it out.
that's what Nora looked at and Beth have looked at.
Okay.
So I tweaked them a little bit to shorten them up and to put what I felt was most important. I added your comment about the school district needs to apply to Rainham too.
Yes, and also, well, I have something else that,
Well, take a look at what I wrote and see if,
okay, let me go
are you
on.
at the Smart Simple site?
Let me go on there now. Hold on. I don't want
Okay.
to lose you guys. All right. Hmm.
I sort of feel like, Nora, what you emailed to me, that last section, examples of projects, art shows and dance lessons would
Yep.
be something to put on the Autumn Fest
Sure.
paperwork that you're off, or suggestions of things that would work. I'm not sure that it's what should be on the LCC, that, you know, the Mass Cultural Council site, because at that point, they've already got something in mind.
Yep.
So this is a generating idea spot. If we had a Facebook page, that would be a great place to put those examples, but Savet was going to do it and then he moved to Europe. So I don't know if someone else wants to put together a Facebook page or some other way. I mean, I can put it on Bridgewater Residents and Bridgewater 02324.
Yeah.
I already did send something out July 5th and got
Yeah.
some interest from people.
Yeah.
But I can put this wordage on the Bridgewater Residents and Bridgewater 02324. Is there any other site that you guys think people go to regularly?
No, nothing that I would recommend.
All right, so you guys agree that that's where I should put the last part of what Nora sent us. Examples of projects may include. And I'll put that on Bridgewater Residents and 02324.
How about we just leave it on 02324, not the resident site?
I don't do 02324.
Oh, okay, because the
I do
resident
residents.
site,
So if you want me to do it, I have to do both. or I won't get
Okay.
responses. I won't
Okay.
hear anything. And Nora, I don't think, I think I have your, because I usually tag you guys, so you guys can
Yeah.
see the responses. I think I'm friends with all of you now, so you'll get the
Okay.
responses from
Yeah.
those. All right, so any other comments? Did you pull them up, Andy?
I'm pulling it up now. Is it under guidelines and priorities?
Yes.
It just takes a while. They had to reconfigure the, because I hadn't been on for a while. It sent me a author, was it authorization code or something?
Oh, yeah, Beth had to do that too.
Yeah. Okay. It's below the page then, apparently. It's below the grants.
Should be under, shoot. I'm gonna have to get rid of you people so that I can go to my site.
I'm looking at guidelines and priorities. It's not even listed there.
Are you at Smart Simple?
Yes,
Okay, council profile.
okay. Hold on a sec.
And then cycles.
Hold on.
On the left side is cycles.
Yep, hang on. All right. Cycles. Takes me a minute with this computer. Okay, I got cycles.
Open the 2024.
Cycles.
And then the LCC cycle, the middle tab.
Yep.
And that's where I did a draft. I've only saved the draft. I haven't submitted it yet. So under council priorities, the first thing is put artists or STEM individuals or groups that reside in Bridgewater for projects to be held in Bridgewater is the number one thing.
This is so hard to find anything in here.
Yeah.
Did you find what I was referring to?
Not yet, not yet. I'm going slow to try to figure this out. I'm under fiscal year 24 LCC 726.
You want
And it says LCC cycle. That's what you told me to go on cycle.
yes.
And I typed in 2024. Well, it says the most recent cycle 7/5/23. So would it be under cycle applications?
Okay, so go back to the homepage.
Yep.
And on the left is something called cycles.
Yep.
And then you'll see a whole bunch of them. You want to open the one that says draft, the top
Okay.
one. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm at the top one right now. Yeah. I just
Okay.
clicked on- yeah,
Go to the
open it up.
middle, LCC cycle.
Yep. Okay.
And then you'll see that I put that the last time council community input, I put July 5th, because that's when I posted on Facebook.
Yeah, the most recent date your council collected community input. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So then under council priorities, I listed 5 items.
Well, I see STEM individuals or groups that reside in Bridgewater. Yep. Okay. Yep. I see it all. But
All right, so-
I have thought of something that I'd like to see. And
So
I think-
priorities are different than guidelines. Is it guidelines or priorities?
Yeah, I see priorities. That's what you want, right? Or do you want guidelines?
Both. We're doing both.
Okay, well, one must be above the other one then.
So the
Right.
priorities are the numbered 1 through 5.
Yeah, I see that. And then you go down.
So the
further.
number 1 thing is people who are from Bridgewater.
Yes.
The number 2 is events held in
It's held in
Bridgewater.
Bridgewater. Third one is events surrounding towns where Bridgewater resides, where residents would attend. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think it looks
Okay,
great.
so Nora had asked us to add some of this other verbiage. Do we need it or not?
What is the other verbiage?
She asked us to put for number 1,
Yeah,
projects to be held in Bridgewater with preference to applicants that are Bridgewater-based individuals, groups, clubs, or other organized entities promoting events to be held in Bridgewater. These events will be at no cost and fully accessible to all attendees.
yeah, see why not? That's,
But I'm wondering if we need to do that, though. I think what I wrote was short and sweet.
no, I think the short one, if we're all on the same page, if somebody comes from a different.
Beth, how do you
town-
feel?
I think it gets a little wordy if you add more to it. I prefer the simpler one, but again, I'm kind of new to this, I'm not sure.
So Nora, is it just that you want the accessible, or what is it you wanted added to it?
Well, you need to have the fully accessible, so they
Well, I
understand that
think
right
pretty
at the
much
beginning.
everywhere that people perform in Bridgewater, unless they're at the one of the churches, they're all accessible now.
However you'd like to do it, it's fine. I'm okay with that. They were just some suggestions. I think accessible does require, must be as part of the grant.
So
I
under
think
number
it's
2,
good to
events to be held in Bridgewater in
Accessible
accessible
locations.
buildings.
Yeah, they need to be an accessible building or grounds or whatever like that. It has, it's part of the requirement for the grant from the state.
Are there any places that you know of, Nora, in Bridgewater that they do have shows or presentations that aren't accessible?
Depends on what the person's situation is who needs access to accessibility. So would
Okay,
there be something available for someone that doesn't hear, does not see, that might want to attend these? By putting fully accessible, it puts it on the person requesting a grant to ensure that that availability is there for them.
so let me just throw the scenario out
Mhm.
at you. If they do the old town hall over,
Mhm. Right,
and the second floor is not accessible because there's no elevator,
right,
but yet the first floor is accessible because they've got a handicap ramp, which will be on the back side and not the front.
right.
So because the second floor is not accessible, that means the person holding the event
Mhm.
has got to make sure that there's nothing going on the second floor.
Or
Or
they have to,
they become a later priority,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that, yeah,
providing a grant.
I think they'll put an elevator in or something like that, but I don't know of any other places, the newer places that aren't accessible, but you know.
All right, so
neither
I
there.
added, is anyone at Smart Simple, I added a number 2, events to be held in Bridgewater in accessible buildings or grounds.
Yep,
Does that cover
fine.
what you want, Nora?
well, I don't think it needs to be there if we don't, we feel it's too wordy. It was just a suggestion. You can have that in the grant and then put it on that they have to do that when they actually do the application for the grant.
How about events to be held in Bridgewater in an accessible location? Will that work? So
I don't
we're gonna
know.
add-
Well, I think we
Yeah.
need to be more specific, I think, to the buildings and grounds. I don't know.
Well, that
So
has to
the
be
M-
done by grant, the
So
grant,
the state
person
grant
applying.
supersedes anything we write.
Yeah. and whatever, they're requiring that, so it's up to the person. So for example, if I want to do a poetry reading, I can't just do a poetry reading unless I have someone there who might be able to, for example, do sign language for someone. So when you have to do, because I know that was one thing that I got dinged on with them a long time, so you have to make sure that availability, when we often think about accessible, we think of wheelchair access and that type of thing. It's not always that. So if you're doing something in particular, just visual, just audio, you have to be prepared and think about that when you're putting on any type of thing related to state money.
I don't think we have that right now.
I don't think we have it either. I don't think that's way overboard as
Yep.
far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
Simply because every event we have,
Mhm,
if a deaf person comes,
mhm.
we're gonna have to get, or they're gonna have to provide for somebody that does sign.
And that would have to be related to the person applying for the grant, so that you'd always have whatever you needed to have on board.
So
So
if
then
Big
we're gonna
Brian-
have to really increase the amount of grant money because they have
Yeah.
to pay the interpreter.
Well, they would have to put that in, or the state would provide
So
them for you,
Nora, are you
depending on what
suggesting
it
that
is.
we only accept grant requests that have
No, I'm saying that
hearing
if I'm,
impaired?
no, I think you're all misunderstanding me. If I'm gonna put a grant on, fill out a grant application, I have to cover every single thing and make sure it's all up to par. And so if I might need someone who's going to do signing, or if I'm gonna do something truly multicultural, where I might have issues with people that English is, not their first language, I may need to consider, depending on what I'm trying to convey through the actual promotion. We're not talking about like a band playing, and we're not necessarily talking about a dance performance. But if I'm going to have something that's maybe very cultural or very historical, then I might need to have that. That's not our job to do. That's the job of the person preparing it, and it wouldn't be unreasonable to ask if they had thought about that and then have a discussion about it. But sometimes it's like, well, no, I don't think we've never had to have that before. Then okay. And as long as we're comfortable voting that there's not going to be an issue where there is not some form of accessibility made arrangements for. So for example.
So I think, Nora, what we're doing today is
Mhm.
just creating the priorities and guidelines that will be on the website so that people will know what we're looking for. And
Right.
then, once we look at and evaluate the grants, we
Yeah.
can reach out to each of the grant requesters
Mhm.
and ask them these questions.
Yeah.
But I
Well, it
think
would
if
be-
we try to cover everything now, it's going to turn people away.
Exactly. But I think what we need to do
So,
is for,
so you're saying that's a discussion we'll have after October 17th when the deadline ends?
yeah, I don't think it's necessary to do that. It's kind of like you contact your grant applicant and say, hey, what would you, do you have a rain date, for example? What are your plans if no one shows up to your event? What are you going to do about that? What if in the event you're going to have where you're doing a thing explaining the difference between colors and whatnot? How would you handle it if someone showed up that didn't, for example, see colors very well? How would you accommodate that for them? And let them think about it. They're the creative ones. That's what they should be covering before they're going to do any kind of live presentation. I
But
mean,
don't you-
often, go ahead. Go
Don't
ahead,
you
Andrew.
think we should put this in the grant? Because somebody like Big Ryan who
Mhm,
tells stories to children at the library
right.
might have to hire somebody to come in and do sign language if a deaf child wants to come in and enjoy their time there.
But
I
they
think-
don't make reservations for Big Ryan. So the library doesn't know if someone's coming in who has the need.
But then at the last minute, if they know they're coming in over the weekend or something, that should be the state that provides that
And
service.
usually it is, you can get a state translator, and that's where it's not about us. We don't do the extra work. The person that is developing the grant must make it fully accessible. And again, the easiest thing we always think about wheelchairs and that type of thing, but we don't always think about the other individual that comes in. Hey, I want my kid to come in and
Yeah.
participate. So what do you do? It's not on us. It's on the person writing the grant. So it doesn't hurt to say it needs to be fully accessible and let them ask the question, define.
All
what's
right, so then,
accessible.
Nora, look at number 2, priority. How do you
Yeah.
want to change that to say hearing and visual?
I don't think you have to do that. Fully accessible covers all of that.
Okay,
Depends
all
on the
right, so
individual.
let's
needs.
just take a look at those 5 priorities and decide if those are the way you want them left, or do you want them adjusted more? And then we'll get on to the specific guidelines.
I think you should leave them just as they are, short and sweet, and then people should
So,
go through and. skip it.
Anybody else? Andy?
Yeah, I'd like to add, as far as the school's concerned,
That's not till guidelines. This is
Okay.
just priorities.
well, that's
So just
fine.
look at the priorities.
Everything's fine, as far as I'm concerned.
Beth, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's fine. You talked about
Okay.
the schools under guidelines, I think, right?
Right, we're gonna go to guidelines next. I just want to make sure you guys are all on board with what I put in here.
Do we,
for that.
one last question I have on that, on the STEM reference? Does
Yes.
it have to be STEM?
No,
Okay, maybe we could find a different way of wording that.
you want STEAM?
No,
What is STEM?
STEM
Right.
is science, technology,
Engineering, math.
engineering, and math.
Okay,
which references schools specifically.
schools, yeah.
Yeah, that.
No, not at
so I'm
all.
like,
No,
Or
we could have someone come to the library who's a scientist and do a science demonstration.
which would be fantastic.
Right, so that's why I wanted to add STEM.
Yeah.
Because right now it's just artists.
Yeah, I think it's good the way you have it, artist/STEM.
You like it or you do not?
I like it.
Okay. Anyone who's STEM knows what STEM is.
Yeah.
Right, Beth?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to guidelines. So the grant submissions are shut down at midnight. You can no longer supply or apply after that date. So it's not me, it's the state. The state shuts down those application deadline.
Okay,
Okay,
So we're leaving it up to the grantee to show local benefit. We want them to get a letter of support from the library, the senior center, wherever they're doing their thing, to make sure that, like, we're not going to have a fiasco with that African dancer again. Because we had no idea if she was performing or when.
did you ever find out where she performed?
She was in the library. She
And no-
rescheduled it from one week to the next and no one showed.
Yeah.
So I think we should request that there be a performance date and venue included in their application.
Mhm, yeah.
Anybody want to tweak that, or you like what I wrote?
You know what, I disagree with that, because they're gonna come up, they want to apply for the grant, whether they get it or not. Why would they apply for it if they didn't know when they were gonna be playing? For instance, if I wanted to perform at the senior center
right.
and I did not get the grant and nobody's paying me, why would I play at the senior center?
You would cancel.
That's right, I'd have to cancel it, but I
That's
wouldn't.
fine.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, in a situation like that, that's why a lot of the other cultural councils don't pay them until they perform.
Right,
Well, that's why I'm saying we want to know when you're going to be performing before we give you the money.
but then they cancel it. The old way was problematic and paperwork aggravating. But
What's the old way,
people
Nora?
didn't get
Were
get
they-
paid until after they completed the
Yes,
performance. They
yeah.
submitted receipts, they provided us with reports. I still have a box here from one year that the town said, don't give it to us, just we don't
Would
care, basically, but yeah. So they used to have to submit when they wanted to get paid, copies of receipts, the copies of their paperwork, any kind of advertising, sometimes website listings, so you could actually go there. Sometimes they print
I mean,
them
that's
for
the
you.
stuff we want them to do in the final reports.
And so it was done, and then they got paid.
Right.
They didn't get paid very much along the way. They got paid once the performance was
Right. And the
done.
decision, I think, was made by the town manager's office to do the grants, which is fine.
So
I think they did it during COVID.
I hate to sound like a dog with a bone here, but I'll just sound like a dog with a bone. Looking at the sample council priorities that's on the Mass Cultural Council
Yep.
page, why didn't we just take that and fill in the Bridgewater Cultural Council that? Because it has everything in it that we're talking about now without any particular difference, and it includes applicants have secured a local venue, projects that serve youth or the elderly, projects that focus on local history, and of course you could tweak those. In addition to the state criteria, using the following review criteria: how well the program meets our local priorities, community support and involvement, evidence of track record and dedication of the applicant, ability to address the diverse cultural needs of a community's underserved populations or support diverse forms of cultural activities, financial need, and demonstrated planning. That's the state sample council priorities. And it's, I don't understand why we don't just fill in the, fill
Well,
in the blank.
if you
and
look
put it
at
in.
all the surrounding towns, because I did
Yeah.
this exercise this winter, is I looked at West Bridgewater, East Bridgewater, East
Mm-hmm.
and Raynham to see what they did, and some of them
Mhm.
had 3 pages.
Yep.
Like Easton did.
Yep.
And I think it was West Bridgewater had less than I've written here.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's so clean.
Yep.
I'm into less words.
Mhm. Well, I'm just saying, since they put it there and they've
Well, I've
approved
already
it,
typed this in. Unless you have an
Yeah.
issue with it, I'm gonna leave it unless somebody has an issue with it.
I just think it's short and sweet and it's right from the state and we don't have to rethink it. And if there's a couple of things we wanted to add to it, then it eliminates my need for wordiness and your brevity and gives more of an explanation that covers more of the detail.
Anyone else looking at that local guideline document?
It's on the Mass Cultural Council
Right.
page.
Everyone's on the site, so
Yeah.
they can just, it's in Aqua.
So I mean, it's up to you, but it's just, it really is. We just have to fill in 2 blanks,
Beth and Andy,
Um,
what do you think?
you know.
I think it's fine the way it is. Keep it simple.
Okay.
You know, if people have questions, they can always ask us.
I mean, we can try it for this year and then change
Yeah.
it for next.
Yeah, I agree that it's fine the way Tina wrote it.
However anybody wants to do it's fine.
Well, let's
With
try
me.
it for this year.
Yep.
And then if it totally blows up in our faces, we can fix it for next year.
Oh, I
Because
don't
every
think
year
it'll-
we redo them.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it'll make any difference, so.
Okay. Back onto guidelines. Is everyone reading those?
Yep. On the school district programs, part of the council guidelines.
Yes.
And I don't want to beat a dead horse about this, but they're supposed to apply for their programs, and if they don't get approval, they get a disapproval letter saying that we can't afford this. We should be getting those letters to show that in good faith, they've already applied to the school and can you help us type of thing. I don't know how we're going to be able, to track whether some group did or didn't get paid by Raynham, because of the Bridgewater Raynham.
Andy, I just want them to apply.
Yeah, oh, that's fine.
If
But
they
I mean,
didn't
it
even, like, Carrie Campbell didn't even apply to Raynham.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, whether they get approved or not is not my business, but at
Yeah.
least they're letting Raynham know that they are giving assistance. You know what I'm saying?
But how will we know that they're applying for both Raynham and
They have to
Bridgewater?
write it down on their grant request.
Okay, all right,
So one of the questions is what other towns have you applied for grants?
yeah,
So we'll be able to know.
okay.
Same school district programs that are being held in, like Bridgewater schools should apply for assistance from.
Well, it's
Raymond?
interesting, Beth, the only people who applied was the high school and the preschool.
Oh, and those are
And those are both.
both Bridgewater and Raymond.
Right. It seems like there are parent groups to pay for all the stuff they might want for first grade up to 8th grade.
Got it.
I think we gave them money last year for a play or something, or no, was it?
Right. Raynham did as well. The play was not the issue. It was the preschool and the high school.
Okay,
They both applied for money and didn't ask for it
Yeah.
from Raynham.
Okay.
But I don't know how else to put that there. Just to let them know that they're not just Bridgewater people that go to these programs.
yeah. That's fine, then we can decide what we want to do, so.
All right. Then on to priority we give to new applicants or projects. Large percentage of the population is possible. It is a direct grant, final reports with expenses, number of attendees, documentation of credit, etc. are required to be considered for future funding. They're encouraged to seek other funding sources. We are not intended to be the sole funding source for projects of a continuing nature. And after 3 years, we can reduce or eliminate funding. if we choose. We don't have to. It's just, we have that option. And then the acknowledgement. Any suggestions, tweaking? I mean, this is, Nora, if you think people are concerned, if you're concerned that grant applications won't include language, translation, whatever, this is where we would potentially could put that. So how would you like that to be written?
It looks great to me. I wouldn't change a word.
Okay. All right, so I am going to check the member list, make sure everyone's names are spelled properly. On that same page, we'll scroll down.
Yeah, your name isn't capitalized, Tina.
I know, I don't care. Do you care? I don't care.
Should be changed.
You want me to change it?
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah,
correct
you
that.
should change it.
You know, it's funny,
We'll be calling you Little Tina.
Mm.
So I will fix that before I submit. We have no additional members, and I think we are done for tonight.
Okay, we're not putting Kayla's name on there?
Kayla's name is
Kayla's
on there.
name is
We
on.
have,
Oh,
we
okay,
have to
I'm
have her
sorry.
on there as a fifth
Yeah.
body.
Okay,
So you
You
can
would
just
ch-
call her, contact her,
Yeah.
let her know she's part of the group. She should contact Hanoko to get onto Smart Simple.
Yeah.
And she can help us evaluate grants on
Right.
September 1st.
very
Well,
good.
They start September 1st, but
Yeah.
so we need to set our next appointment to get together sometime after the 18th. I don't know what day of the week that is.
After the 18th of September.
October. So October 17th is the deadline. We don't really need to meet before then unless. So Nora, tell me, would there be any reason for us to start taking a look at the grants and then contacting people to tweak them? We can access them as soon as they submit them.
Why should we have to contact them to tweak them? Why can't they? just-
I'm asking Nora, and historically, she was on this group before.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I would always contact them and say things like, I didn't. see-
Beforehand?
Yeah, and just, right when we get it, and just take a look and check off, you didn't include this, that, because sometimes they didn't really understand what it was, or they had a question and they just were trying to meet the deadline. But just say, I just glanced at it quickly, had a couple of minutes, thought I'd chat with you and let you know that we need a couple more things, would make it beneficial. I'm not guaranteeing anything, just saying, there were a few major typos, like one person spelled Bridgewater wrong through the entire grant. And I said, you might want to tweak that up a little bit to make it sound like you're at least, who we are. And just a little bit of info to help them out and get them, if you left something out, you need to include that. And because otherwise we have to look it through, vote on it, and then we're gonna have to send you a letter saying you didn't send the stuff. So if you want to take care of it and send it along, then we. can
So
make
does
sure
that
that's in there.
require us to meet beforehand to discuss who we're going to contact?
At the time, it didn't, because what we did is we voted in, someone to take care of that, to keep track of what was coming in. I mean, of course, we had paper we were dealing with, and then look through things, and that person would just make a quick call or an email over to them. No, it didn't, because nothing was in play yet. So it was just a
Okay,
matter of
so,
that.
so how do you guys want to do this? You want to just every week or so look to see what's been applied for, what grants have come in, and go ahead and contact them for more specifics, and then just send a message to the rest of the committee so we know who's been reached out to?
Just a thing where they, gee, you spelled Bridgewater wrong, could you correct
Right,
that?
so
And,
do you guys want to do that, or do you want to wait until after everything's submitted?
I'd like to wait till it's all submitted before we make decisions and then just call them
Well, we're
out.
not going to make decisions. Nora's just
No.
asking people to correct things or add things or.
Yeah, you forgot to include, we didn't see it, did you
So I
forget to
get, what I'm
attach the
asking
file?
is, do you want to be notified if Nora has contacted someone, or if I go ahead and reach out to someone?
You don't want to have multiple people reaching out to the same person.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if you reach out, let everyone else know that
Yeah.
you've done it.
copy somebody and say, I happen to notice when I was
So
looking
all
at
of
this.
us, all
Yeah,
4 of us.
everybody's gotta be
Kayla, if she
notified.
joins us.
And so the applications can start coming in September 1st?
Yes.
Mhm.
But we don't make a final decision until the 18th at the earliest.
And that's October 18th.
October 18th, we
Yeah.
can start looking at them, deciding, and we send out denial letters, or the website, the Mass Cultural Council sends out denials. And we have to give a reason why we denied them.
Mhm.
And that's why our local guidelines have to be pretty clear, because we can get in trouble for denying people if they did everything we asked them to do and then we still deny them.
So after the due date, at that point, they can't make any changes or additions? to the-
Correct. Unless they ask us, like the One Book, One Community and Juneteenth, both have sent us revised grant requests. And I think it was Andy and I both approved their revisions. They were fine. Not biggies. Okay, so look at your calendars. What date is October 18th?
Wednesday?
It's a Wednesday. What is a good time for you guys to meet? What nights?
I could do any evening, except weekends.
I can't do Thursdays.
Okay, Andy, do you have any restrictions?
He ran away.
All right, let's plan on, do you want to do the 18th? Or do you want to wait till the next week, Tuesday, the 24th?
Doesn't matter to me.
Nora?
I would stick with the 18th, the earlier we can get it done, looked at and all that. That way we have more time on the other end of things.
I just have a class at the gym I go to. Beth,
Okay.
do you go to Wild Card?
No, that's too late for me.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry.
Okay. Are Tuesdays or Wednesdays better for you?
Either one, Tuesday or Wednesday is fine.
Well, I'm going to say Tuesday, the 24th, because I want to do my class.
Okay,
Of
October.
October.
October 24th. So that's a week
Okay.
after the final deadline. So people are welcome to look at it beforehand. And as a matter of fact, I encourage you to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So take a look yourself before we meet on the 24th and have some idea in mind how you want to go with them, yes or no, and what might be missing, because we can get them to not necessarily, we can just clarify. We can clarify before we make final decisions about denials or not. Is 6 o'clock too early?
6 is fine.
6 is fine.
Good for me.
Okay.
Good.
All right, I will fix the spelling of my name and submit what we've done, and we are done now until the 24th at 6 p.m.
Now,
Very good. Oh.
before we go, I think I'd be able to help out on is it September?
The 30th,
Yeah, September 30th.
Autumn Fest, awesome.
Yeah, and also maybe we should get some windbreakers or something made up that has the Cultural Council logo on it. So we can look professional. We have $1,300 to spend. So, something that'll help us out. It'll make us look a little bit more professional or something.
Well, we could just do name tags.
We could do that too. We just do name tags. You
They'll
can-
be a lot cheaper. But now that Beth is on board and she's got contacts, she might be able to come up with a program that we can do. And we don't have to have our program ready by October 18th. If we want to do a program, the community, the local cultural council could put its own program together and we don't have to go through the grant process.
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
can
who
just
we
approve it
wanna-
ourselves.
Yeah, something we'd like to do in the town that would be.
Right. So be thinking about that as well. All right, anything else that anybody wants to add or? Nora, let me know how your chat with Kayla goes
I will, and I will be
and
relentless. with
send me
her,
the
so-
QR code as soon
Yep.
as you have it available.
Yep, got it right
Great.
here.
Um,
Okay,
I think I don't have the email, but yes, I do. You can go ahead and send it to bridgewaterprint@comcast.net,
mhm.
the QR code.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
I
he can
deal
just
with
put
them
it
all
on the
the time.
poster.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, so you can send
Okay.
it to them and then I will come in there and order the posters.
Okay, very good.
Okay,
Okay, very good.
anything else?
Should do it.
Okay, adjourned, 7:05. We're good.
Excellent.
Very
Okay,
good. Thank you.
have a good
Talk
night.
to you all soon.
You
Yeah,
too.
bye-bye.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
bye-bye.
Andy,
Yeah.
Oh.
I have a book for you.
Oh, you were able to get one of them. There's got to be
I was.
90
Will
copies
you-
floating around.
I grabbed one at the Mandela Scholars were together.
Oh, we hosted them up at Music Alley.
Yes, I was
And-
there then too.
Yeah.
Are
and
you
then-
going to
yeah.
be there this Thursday?
Oh, yeah, I'm there every week.
You weren't there last week. I had the book.
Yeah, I was certainly was there last week. I
Where
left at
were you?
6:30. I left at 6:30 after the
Oh.
first performer.
I must have missed you. Okay, I will look for you this Thursday.
All right, thank you.
right.
We'll
Have a
see
good
you
night.
soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.